Hello, and greetings this afternoon from Salzburg, Austria. We're talking about Palm Sunday. Matthew chapter 26, verse 17 states, "On the first day of unleavened bread, the disciples asked Jesus, 'Where do you want us to make the preparations for you to eat the Passover?'" The expression, the Passover, refers to the lamb sacrificed in the Jerusalem temple and eaten by Jews to commemorate the night the angel of death spared them. The Last Supper, according to Matthew, Mark, and Luke, was a Passover meal. Jesus and his disciples were among the 2 million Jews. The number comes from the Jewish historian Josephus, who came to Jerusalem to celebrate the feast. So the more we know about Passover, the more we can understand the Last Supper. For example, Matthew 26:20 states that Jesus and the disciples reclined at table. Reclining at table is the position of free people. Next, while the book of Exodus does not mention drinking wine at Passover, by the 2nd century BCE, the non-canonical book of Jubilees associates wine with the holiday. The Mishnah, Pesachim 10, specifies 4 cups of wine, signifying the freedom and joy of the holiday, freedom and joy that anticipate the Olam Haba, the world to come, or the Messianic age. Third, Matthew 26:30 states that after the meal, they sang the hymn. Philo of Alexandria, a 1st century Jewish philosopher, speaks of singing in celebration of the Passover, and the Mishnah, Pesachim 5:7, states that Jews at Passover sang Psalms 113 to 118, the so-called Hallel Psalms. Fourth, when Jesus states that his betrayer is the one dipping into the bowl with me, that's Matthew 26:23, he may have been dipping his matzah, unleavened bread, into bitter herbs, eaten on Passover to recall the bitterness of slavery. Matthew also may be recording another tradition known from the Mishnah. Pesachim 10:4 records, "On all other nights we dip once," which is the common practice of dipping food into sauce. But on this night, we dip twice. The second dip signified what free people, people who have leisure time, can do. And today at the Seder, we Jews dip vegetables into salt water twice to remind us of the tears of slavery. The presence of Judas at the Last Supper also alludes to Psalm 41, verse 9. "Even my bosom friend in whom I trusted, who ate of my bread, has lifted his heel against me." Often when both evangelists and rabbis cite a text, they presume readers know the literary context. The previous verse, Psalm 41, verse 8, reads, "They think that I will not rise again." And the following verse, Psalm 41, verse 10, reads, "Lord, be gracious to me and raise me up." The psalm thus adds nuance to the Last Supper. After the Romans destroyed the Jerusalem temple in 70 of the Common Era, Jewish Seders included new readings and rituals. Although traditions changed, Passover still reminds us that people are still enslaved, and so it prompts us to work for freedom. If Christians forget the connections between Passover and the Last Supper, they risk forgetting not only the Exodus, they also risk forgetting Jesus' affirmation of Jewish scriptures and Jewish traditions.